Probably one of the most release heavy weeks of 2021. Let's talk. What up, viewers? What up? What up? Calc Soups here, and today is Friday, October 8th, and that means it's time for a quick recap of the week in video game news. Like I said, as someone who just put together a chart charting out all of the releases for the rest of the year and early next year, um, this was definitely taking the cake as one of the big release weeks. So let's begin by talking about it. Earlier this week, Alan Wake Remastered launched, starting off our week of launches. So yes, the remaster, we've been kind of waiting for it for quite some time. Remedy, it was unsure whether or not they own the IP and what they would do with it. So really excited to see Alan Wake get remastered. It's been over a decade since we've seen Alan Wake. It launched in 2010. So yep, just a little bit over a decade, and so far people are kind of enjoying it. It's got a 78 Metacritic, so I think it might be a good place to return to, depending on what you believe in Metacritic, whether or not you'll buy in soon. I also know that it's not fully priced, so that might be the fact that it's not a fully $60 game might make it a little bit more easier to go strolling down nostalgia lane. They've removed the ads. I think we talked about this a couple weeks ago, that as part of the remaster, they've removed some of those weird ads, like Verizon posters and stuff like that. So you won't see any of those, but there is a pretty big change. The original character models have all been kind of redone, specifically around Alan Wake. His character model looks a little bit more like his voice actor, so there might be a little bit of a change. I kind of remember Alan Wake as kind of having a long and narrow face, and now the new actor is got a little bit like higher cheekbones and stuff like that. So not too much. It's still the same Alan Wake that you know and love, but there might be a little changes that might throw you off. But I'm excited to kind of jump back in. Considering this came out when I was in college, it'll be kind of cool to revisit something to see if it's still something I like. So definitely interested in picking up Alan Wake. Also launching this week was Far Cry 6. Everyone is excited to jump in and try and get Juan Carlos Esposito, so very excited to jump into that. Currently at a 75 Metacritic, so I've read a lot of reviews. Very interested to see kind of how this one shakes out. 75 is usually where I'd put it. Like, it's somewhere in the 70s is usually where I would say, like, if you're a fan of the series, then you might want to pick it up. But maybe if you're not, this might not, this might not reinvigorate your fandom. A lot of the reviews I was reading were talking about how the formula is a little bit tired. I only played, my first Far Cry game was Far Cry 5, so I'm not tired of the formula quite yet. So I'm kind of excited to jump in and see what Far Cry 6 has for me. Also, just anytime I see Giancarlo Esposito, I gotta jump in on that. So very excited to see what experience Far Cry 6 myself. Looking forward to it. Let me know what you think of it down below in the comments if you picked it up. And then finally launching today is two pretty big launches. Metroid Dread launched today, so if you're looking for some kind of spooky vibes, but also gives you that Metroid platforming feel that you know and love. It'll actually be my first Metroid as I play it later this month. So very excited for that. It's currently at an 88 Metacritic, so very good reviews. People are saying it's kind of a return to form. It has been over a decade since we've seen a Metroid come to a console game. I think the last two releases have been launched on were launched on the 3DS, so it's really nice to see Metroid coming to the console. I guess Switch is both handheld and console, but coming to consoles, getting up-resed. Also, the Nintendo Switch OLED has launched today as well. So you can play Metroid Dread on your new Switch if you went ahead and picked it up. I've kind of looked at a couple of the reviews. I've always thought the white case and the white Joy-Cons gave it a really sleek look. But a lot of what I was reading about it was it was noticeably bigger, and all of the color kind of changes in palettes. Because there's no processing power, none of it fixes, or none of it improves upon its dock setting. It's usually where people are noticing the big differences is when it's in handheld mode. So considering I play my Switch mostly docked, I don't know that I necessarily want to make the jump. But if you're thinking about it, I'll have a link down below to a lot of people's to kind of a review roundup of what people think of the new Nintendo Switch OLED. I know a lot of people are talking about, I think Nintendo released kind of official criteria on how to like transfer your island, because I know a lot of people don't want to leave their old Switch behind without getting their island, their Animal Crossing island. So yeah, pretty exciting stuff. Getting a new kind of mid life cycle update for the Switch. I'm still holding out for kind of a 4K Switch or something that can do a little bit more powerful Switch before I make the jump. But let me know if you pick one up, what you think of it down below. Also, pretty big this week was a big Twitch data breach. There, besides the typical PSA to turn on to two-factor authentication if you don't already have that on, and go ahead and change your password while you're at it, because there is some reports that some user data might have been lost in this big data breach. But a lot of the conversation is more focused on kind of streamer income, which I think is a little bit kind of blown out of proportion, because I feel like we've kind of always been able to estimate how much streamers make. Now, if there's other deals or stuff like that, then you know, that's always been kind of the icing on top of the cake. But streamer income's been easy to calculate. I think most streamers typically talk about how many subs they have. So you usually are able to take like the $2.5 or the $2.50 that they get per sub and multiply it by their monthly subs, and you've got yourself your streamer income on a monthly basis. So, but a lot of people are kind of looking at it. They're able to see kind of how they rank up. But it's a little bit of I think it's a little bit of a nothing burger. But that is a pretty big data breach. So Twitch is definitely going to cover their ass on that end. And the big piece of news I think coming out of this was actually there was Project Vapor, which I know what they're doing there. Amazon's PC gaming platform, kind of for selling video games, was leaked as part of this data breach as well. So I figured they were kind of, I think most people have kind of been expecting Amazon to kind of jump into the PC gaming scene and try and start selling games on their platform. And with a Twitch integration, they could definitely do some damage there. But so I think that's probably the biggest thing to keep our eyes on is what is Amazon doing about this PC gaming storefront, and what actually comes out of this. So interested to see what comes out of that. But otherwise, don't forget to change your password on your Twitch account and turn on two-factor authentication. Just a week after FIFA 21 has launched last Friday, and I know I didn't talk about it very much, but not too big a fan of the FIFA franchise. But not a week later, and we're already getting reports that EA is looking to patent a different name. They're kind of dropping the FIFA name from their soccer games going forward. So be interesting to kind of see what goes on with that. I think this is kind of a pretty big deal. FIFA as an organization has not been doing well. A lot of corruption in that organization. So I'm surprised it's taken them this long, but I think maybe now they're deciding to that working with FIFA directly is probably more trouble than it's worth. So they're gonna rename it, rebrand it, and see what they can do from there. So I don't know if they don't have access to the players, or if it's just different name on the front of the box. This would be kind of interesting to see how that shakes out. But EA has already gone as far as like patenting new names for their soccer games. So definitely FIFA's on the outs. So it'd be interesting to see what goes on there. Valve put out a video this week showing them breaking down a Steam Deck so that you don't have to. I think they led really strongly. I watched the 5-minute video. I'll have a link down below in the description. But if you want to open up your PC just like you would any other PC, they kind of show you how to do it. They talk about how they have a lot of proprietary technology. They know that people will probably want to change out the thumbsticks or the SSD drive. So they showed people how to kind of do that and how to break those out. But if you aren't like 3D printing, they have a lot of proprietary stuff that's going in there to like make different thumbsticks. I assume third parties like Scuff or Squid or any of the other kind of third party will be making different thumbsticks for you to buy. But they definitely showed you it's a really big hassle. They talk about the typical PC building stuff about static, and you don't want to get static in there. You can blow the whole thing. But if you are so inclined and you want to change out the SSD or the thumbsticks or any other thing on your Switch, or not your Switch, your Steam Deck, then you will be able to do that. And they put out a video to help you do that if you so desired. It has finally been revealed who the final character in the Super Smash Bros. Character Pass will be, and I think people were pretty excited that it's Waluigi. I'm kidding, it's not Waluigi. It's actually Sora from the Kingdom Hearts trilogy. So pretty exciting. I think this is probably one of the more popular things that people wanted. So I think that it's kind of interesting to see that Disney got behind it. I think that yeah, I think that's really exciting that Disney's kind of, and we've seen that a little bit more of late, that like with the Pirates of the Caribbean and Sea of Thieves, Sora coming out, that I think Disney's loosening up, potentially gonna get into games again, because Disney's always been kind of wishy-washy about being in the games industry. But yeah, interesting to see that Sora is entering into Smash Bros. I know it's another sword fighter, but I think a lot of people are going to be very excited to be playing Sora in Smash Bros. Also, as part of all these big reveals, Sakurai talked about, well, or at least revealed that there will be new Mii fighters, so you'll be able to play as, I think you'll be able to put on an Inkling hat. You also have the cat hat. I didn't get the reference there. But most importantly, the one I'm most excited about is you can play as a Mii fighter that looks like Doom Guy, which was very exciting. The music dropped in. They had like a red Bowser kind of pretending it's an imp. So it was really fun. And I'm kind of excited that at least Doom Guy in one form or another is going to be in Super Smash. So, but this is the final character. So any other people who wanted more characters, these are the ones you're going to get. They kind of dragged this out for quite some time. So excited to finally be done. But I still think of Super Smash Bros. Ultimate, the fact that it's called Ultimate meant that that this would be a platform that they would just continuously add characters to, which I think would be kind of fun. But I know that the Smash Bros. isn't really the franchise known for doing that, and character balances and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's a super exciting time for Smash Bros. I've actually considered loading it back up on my Switch and playing around with it now that all the characters are out, and buying some of the character packs. Exciting stuff. Let me know who you wanted instead of Sora, and if you're excited about Sora, down below in the comments. The Guardians of the Galaxy game coming out later this month had a great 80s homage kind of trailer this week that I thought was really cool. They had an awesome art style, and they had like the nice art style of like heavy metal, kind of like that hand-drawn 80s animation art style, and also had like an 80s music video, so it all felt very 80s. I think the vibe that they're going for is they're definitely getting into like the Peter Quill. I think that was somewhat of the point of the trailer, was like, hey, you will be playing as Peter Quill. This is kind of what he wants. So it was kind of exciting just to hear some rock music with a really cool art style. But it did kind of lead me to the like, hey, you're playing as Peter Quill and you're trying to keep all this stuff together, and it's not like a team mashup where you're like jumping from character to character. So all of that in just a 90-second trailer, but very cool, very worth watching. So I'll have a link down below. Last but certainly not least, if you want to get into the spooky mood now that we're in October, there is definitely a game that came up this week that is definitely worth your attention. I called it Terror Meets Thomas the Tank Engine. The game is called Choo Charlie, and you play first person in a trying to escape a giant evil choo-choo train that has spider legs, because it wouldn't be any more nightmare inducing if it didn't have giant black spider legs. But you're able to, it looks like you're like traveling through the map, and you'll occasionally interact with this terrible creature of nightmare fuel, I swear it. So, reader be warned, but I'll have a link down below. Very interesting game. I'm actually considering it. I think it looks like a pretty cool, fun survival game, and definitely worth checking out. So let me know what you think down below in the comments. That's all for the week. If you don't think I covered anything that you thought was interesting this week, feel free to talk about it down below or on my Twitter or Discord. And as always, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoy this content. If you do, follow, like, and subscribe to me on YouTube and Twitch so you can see more great content like this. I'll have links down below in the description. Thanks again. I hope you have a super day. I hope you have a super weekend. And I hope you have a super day. Bye!